Well, hello, Rebecca.
Well, hey, Dad. And, I didn't see you guys there. Hi, fellow friends.
There's a reason you didn't see them there.
There's only one who's hiding behind a pillar.
Well, welcome to episode 24
Jeez.
of The Shallow End. Did you know...
Oh.
I always like to put things in context, Rebecca.
Oh, okay.
If we were a Netflix series,
Yeah.
this would be the season 3 premiere.
Welcome to season 3.
We hope to resolve all those cliffhangers from
season 2. And we made them wait.
And we sure did.
Just like a season premiere would.
Just like we were between seasons.
Sorry,
yes.
you guys.
You know, hey, life's been happening.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you want to talk about any of your life updates?
I'll talk about one of them. I have decided to pursue a PhD. Like a crazy person.
In
organic chemistry.
Oh, I thought you were going to say creative writing.
Actually, it's gender studies.
Let's get right into those generational divides. Cool.
No, it's in organic chemistry, which even when I say it sounds insane. Why would I do that? I don't know. But I'm sure doing it.
You would do that because you've been doing it and you fell in love with it.
I've been doing it and I fell in love with it is the true reason. And because I had to do organic chemistry to be able to do synthetic chemistry, which is what I want to do, and to be able to do it with the group that I want to do it with.
Yes.
So,
well, we're very excited.
but it's been a lot of work and we've been busy. But thanks for hanging in there with us, you guys.
Yeah.
And coming back.
Thanks for hanging in there. Yeah, it's probably like once a month is probably what the expectation should be at this point.
I agree. I think probably we'll be moving to about once a month.
Yeah. But yeah, so here we are, the beginning of season 3. I do have bad news for you. Oh, no. But there's a little like silver lining in the cloud.
Sponsors pulled out?
We have no ads today.
Damn.
But do you remember the scene in Pitch Perfect?
Of course.
Where Bumper comes into the frat house.
Yes.
And everybody's in the hot tub.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm out.
I'm going to go sing for John Legend.
Because he was hand-plucked from a waiting list and you know, basically he's just bugging out on them.
Yeah.
So the silver lining with us not having any ads is we have been hand-selected by a prominent sponsor.
Wow.
And we are currently in negotiations.
Wow.
Okay, so what I mean by all that is I sent an unsolicited email to Breeze and said, hey, want to sponsor us? Haven't heard back.
Oh, well, they probably are just really considering what contract they'll draw up for us.
Yeah, no,
They're
I
putting
know.
a lot of thought
It's
into it.
definitely stuck with the lawyers.
But they'll let us know.
But so yeah, I'm hoping that
That's really exciting.
I mean, hey, even a no is an answer.
That's true. Even a no means they had to notice you.
Yeah, right.
So, and that's all we want is
And
attention.
I would just say, obviously, we're not in this for the money, right? We've never been in this for the money.
Of course.
But the nature of the proposal that I made to them is mutually beneficial, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Get us high, and we'll talk about you on our show.
Yep, done.
Done.
Now, a little birdie told me you've got a bit today.
Yeah, guys, season 3, a whole new me.
Yeah, there's your theme.
I came up with a bit. It is as of now unnamed.
Okay.
I haven't been able to come with a clever name.
Well, I have a bit as well, and it's not the same bit that I've ever done before, and I do have a name for it. So, do you want to? We should split these up.
Yes,
like
I agree.
One up front, and then one between articles.
I want to do mine second.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll go with my
first.
bit, and then you'll bring us back to comedy.
Wonderful.
With your
what?
bit. All right, so here's my premise here. We live in the shallow end here, you know,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So I decided that we should try to play an old game from childhood when we would splash around the swimming pool, the disgusting public swimming pool.
Find the Band-Aid.
Not Find the Band-Aid.
Okay.
I'm calling this bit Marco Polo.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The only thing you have to do is tell me where I am when I give you a clue.
Wow, okay.
Right?
All right, I'm ready.
It's easy, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Now there are 5 of these.
Is this a geography thing? Because I'm so bad at that.
Just go with this, okay?
Okay.
So now this does come with a little bit of call and response. Okay, ready? Yep. Marco.
Polo.
Okay, good. I'm desperately trying to avoid catching measles because 159 of my neighbors have been diagnosed with it recently. Where am I?
Texas?
Yes!
Yes!
1 for 1. Good job. Okay. Marco.
Polo.
My name is Blue Ghost. I'm a little wobbly and very cold after completing a long journey, but my pictures are amazing. Where am I?
Blue Ghost. I don't know. What is this one?
I'm on the moon. Blue Ghost is the little lunar lander.
That's drilling now, isn't it?
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's pretty cool. Little Blue Ghost took a photo of sunrise on the moon that was like freaking incredible. It was really cool. All right, here we go. Marco.
Polo.
I'm 12, and I'm desperately trying to install TikTok on my new iPhone that one of my moms gave me for my birthday. But the App Store won't let me because I'm not 14. Where am I?
Anywhere in America.
No.
Oh, California?
No.
Where?
Close.
Well, California just released a bunch of...
There's a hint in the question.
Say it again?
I'm 12, and I'm desperately trying to install TikTok on the new iPhone that one of my moms gave me for my birthday. And it's not lesbians.
Oh, is it Elon's kid?
No. It's a good guess, though. I love that.
What is it?
Utah. I did a little...
many wives.
Yeah, you know, even though that's not legal in the Utah anymore.
I know that California recently passed a bunch of like child working laws.
Oh,
So a
okay.
bunch of like mommy vloggers that used to live in California and exploit their kids are all moving out of California to keep exploiting their kids.
Well, this one, Utah just passed a law that said that
You have to be 14.
the App Store has to age verify the app. Like
That's good.
they'd taken extra steps.
Wow. I'm
okay.
1 for 3 right now.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I'm
sorry.
not getting my PhD in general knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. Marco.
Polo.
Oh, very good. I'm the leader of a center-right Democratic Party that just won a plurality of the vote, and I don't like that President Trump thinks my country should be annexed by the U.S.
Is it Canada?
See, this was a trick question.
Wait,
It is not Canada.
Wait. Say it again.
I'm the leader of a center-right Democratic Party that just won a plurality of the vote, and I don't like that President Trump thinks my country should be annexed by the U.S.
Oh, it's Mexico, isn't it?
No.
Well, the Mexican president came out and gave him
Yeah, but
real...
he didn't threaten to annex Mexico. He doesn't want Mexico.
That's true. What is it?
Greenland.
He wants Greenland?
Oh yeah. He's got a little chub for Greenland for sure.
Ew.
Okay, this is the last one.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you're 1 for 4 right now.
I know, I'm doing so badly.
Okay. Let's do this with flair. Marco.
Polo.
Excellent, please. People around here ain't baby making so much anymore. So my government pays me $770 a month if I have a baby. One company even pays $75,000 to every employee who has a baby. Where am I?
China?
Good guess.
Where?
South Korea.
South Korea.
South Korea. Wow. You get $770 a month for the first year, and then like $375 for year 2 and 3. I think they also said that their maternity leave is 3 years.
Wow.
Anyway, congratulations, Rebecca. You survived.
I got 2 out of 5.
I mean, you didn't completely drown.
I did not pass.
But the lifeguard was looking nervously.
Only doggy paddle.
So yeah, that
was fun.
That's Marco Polo.
I enjoyed Marco Polo.
Okay, I think we'll enjoy your bit better, but so be it.
I have to come up with a good name for it though, which I don't have quite yet. Because we started with your bit, I think we should start with my article.
Okay.
So there.
I'm good with that. Okay,
Do you have any accoutrement to sprinkle in before, or can we jump into the article?
No, I think we should just jump into the article.
Let's jump right in to the shallow end.
And get ready. Strap in for
some generational discussions.
For generational divides.
Yeah.
You want to introduce who we're reading?
I do want to introduce who we're reading. So this is an article from The Atlantic. It's called Teens Are Forgoing a Classic Rite of Passage. And it was written by Faith Hill.
Not the singer.
Not the singer.
I do want to say, we seem to really enjoy Atlantic articles.
I agree. And I don't have an account with them.
Or I. How are you sending them to me?
I have sources.
I
know how to do a little bit of HTML coding.
Oh, you're just ripping them. Okay.
Yep. I know that this show is not big enough that it will ever get back to anybody who will get me in trouble. Right, Dad?
Huh? What? I didn't hear what you said.
Okay. So this article...
Hey, I've got lawyers. Anyway, actually just lawyer.
I've got lawyer. So this article is about how teenagers are reporting that they're dating less or in fewer relationships as compared to like millennials and
you don't
older.
Say.
Well, I read this and I was like, oh, wow, I'd be interested to like know more about that, how they're classifying dating like a relationship now versus then. But they take a while to get there. First, there's kind of a lot of...
Go ahead, say.
I don't know really how to phrase what I'm trying to say. It's my problem with a lot of articles about generational differences, especially when it's centered around Gen Z, is that frequently the author seems to be writing with a lot of disdain.
Oh,
and
okay.
It rubs me the wrong way. Like,
yep.
Even if the observations they're making are accurate, it's like the tude that they throw on top of it. I'm like, eee. But I feel like this article did a good job of
I was going to say, I didn't get that from this.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I think there's a little bit of just letting some of the ridiculousness speak for itself. Yeah. I just want to point out, like we didn't even get through the first paragraph before this little nugget gets dropped, that Gen Z believes that love is a concept created by the media. And I'm like, how long has the human species been talking about love?
It's so stupid.
How long has it been a muse for creativity and war and like, give me a frickin' break. Yeah. It's a concept created by the media to get us to buy things. Right? No, that's not love. That's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, the general theme that she starts this off with is Gen Z kids are cynical and skeptical and too scared to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Seems to be like the theme.
So I went through this and I put a phrase on it. This is how I would characterize Gen Z. Naive cynicism. It's like you don't know shit, but you immediately distrust everything anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's totally unproductive, and it's part of the reason why I'm old man yelling at cloud.
I know, but I feel like I have a different perspective of Gen Z because technically I kind of fall into Gen Z, but I'm like an old Gen Z.
Yeah, right on the edge, yeah.
So, and with like social media, I feel like generations are flipping much quicker. So, like even me and somebody 4 years younger than me, we have completely different outlooks on life because they grew up in a completely different world, basically.
Yeah. I want to point out that after, we could go through this chronologically, but I put down at the end some of my like bigger thoughts about reading this article, and the basis of that was a lot of what this article is about seems to be describing symptoms and not really discussing the causes of this difference.
That's what I was going to say is, so I feel like I can look at Gen Z in the way that they behave with a little bit more empathy.
Sure.
Where I'm like, okay, naive cynicism is a perfect way to describe it, but let's look at why.
Right.
They have this naivete because their parents were helicopter parenting them and babying them. It's not all their fault, and they're cynical because every adult in their life is telling them that the world is ending and everything is horrible.
Yeah,
like of course
they've also gone through COVID, and
yes,
yeah,
and
like
a lot of unprecedented times have
right.
happened in their lives.
Like whether it's COVID or the political world, or
and,
it's
so I have a little bit like, okay, I can see why you would have such a weird, shitty outlook on life.
Yeah.
I don't agree with your weird, shitty outlook, but I have a little bit more patience for them, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's go through in a little more detail.
Okay.
So
I would be curious to know what the first thing that you highlighted is.
outside the love is a concept created by the media. This line, which I think is an attempt by a professor teaching in a college at the college level in a course called Love and Heartbreak. She's trying to describe love to the kids in her class, and she says the sensation is big, it's overwhelming, it can feel utterly transcendent. They're skeptical. And it's like, this is why we can't have nice things. That was the first thing I highlighted, because it's like, they just, what, you don't even want to talk about it? You don't even want to, like, you just want to dismiss thousands of years?
Like, as the McElroys would say, play with me.
Yes.
Play with me in this space.
Yeah, just go move along.
Come on.
Yes, and.
Just give me a little room. And maybe, yeah. I highlighted they're skeptical. I didn't highlight the whole line, but I highlighted they're skeptical because that seemed...
It's a meta message. They are skeptical of everything.
Yeah, the general message. But
I do have a problem in that I read all of this and I think Colby.
Oh yeah.
And so part of me is like...
Colby is my brother.
Colby's been on the pod?
Yeah, but if somebody hasn't...
Yeah, okay. Colby is 21. And Colby's great. He's
awesome,
wonderful, smart,
well-adjusted,
funny young man, but also the poster child for naive cynicism.
Yes.
But very informed. So there's that. So anyway, I don't want to like throw him under the bus. I'm just saying that's the archetype that I have in my mind for Gen Z.
That's interesting. I was not thinking of that. I was thinking younger.
Okay.
I was thinking like some fuck-ass little 18-year-old.
Yeah, mid to late teens.
Yeah, who thinks they know what they're talking about. But I highlighted also, she's talking about a whole lot of American adults are withdrawing from romance, not just young people, but the trend seems to be especially pronounced for Gen Z. And then some research even suggests you might be better off having never had a romantic relationship. In the aggregate, though, this shift could be concerning. A sign researchers told me of a generation struggling with vulnerability.
Yeah.
Now,
But again, no discussion of why.
No discussion of... Okay. When I was first reading this through, and she dropped, some research even suggests you might be better off that way. I highlighted that and said, and we're not going to examine that any further, but she does.
No.
She does, actually, a little bit. But she never examines the generation struggling with vulnerability claim. She never even addresses it as if it is an opinion. She says it as if it's fact.
Oh, yeah.
And I personally disagree with that. I don't think our generation is struggling with vulnerability. I think we're, like... I don't see how this generation can be dinged for being struggling with vulnerability and be dinged for being oversharing about their mental health on the internet. Like, I think people are being overly vulnerable and overly sensitive.
Sure.
And overly, it's all about me.
Well, so I would argue, and this is where I was going at the end, is I think that the first generation to sort of grow up as social media natives is replacing faceless social media vulnerability with that actual learning about myself by being one-on-one and vulnerable. Yeah. So it's a displacement, and I do think it's an unhealthy displacement.
I agree.
So, but...
I think it is both more exposing and also less beneficial.
Yeah, right. I agree. And when you get shut down on social media for something, it's such a public like crushing public thing. You're supposed to go through that one-on-one and learn how to work through emotions about being crushed.
And people are way more likely to be way meaner
Yes.
if you're not looking at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think that one of the elements that is interesting to bring up here, though, is that, like, from my perspective, I think it's totally reasonable that each generation should be allowed to work through what it means to be vulnerable or intimate or in a relationship for themselves. So if they have different terms when they go into this, like situationships or we're talking or we're hanging out.
And I think we talked about that in a different episode, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the different like labeling.
Right.
And I'm glad that they talked about that, because when I was reading the beginning of this, that was the first thing my mind went to was, well, the label of relationship is different now. Like, even from when I was in high school to people in high school now, there wasn't like a situationship talking stage really when I was in high school.
Yeah, and she does bring that up. Like, she says at one point, it could be the label, not the emotional reality that's changing. So okay, that's good.
Yeah, and she says, earlier she drops this percentage. She says, in 2021, 54% of participants ages 18 to 34 reported not having a steady partner. And in 2004, only 33% said that. But then she says later on in a different poll, about 50% of respondents aged 18 to 34 said they'd been in a situationship.
Yeah, right.
So
they're still hanging
they're
out.
still doing it. They're just calling it something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she says, it could still help young people with what researchers told me are some core rewards of early romantic exploration: gaining autonomy from parents, developing a sense of identity, what Phillips called an existential benefit, the sometimes painful, sometimes amazing trial and error process of seeking closeness.
Yep.
Bars.
This is like Mama Robin pushes baby out of the nest and says,
"It's gonna hurt. Good luck.
Ouch, don't hit that first branch.
Yeah.
Like, get your wings under you." But sometimes they go boom, 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 boom.
It takes a couple branches for them to realize. Yeah. Okay, but the paragraph following that quote, though, I think is where she, and I don't think she talks about this afterward, but she says, what young people need the most is often just a cheerleader, a peer, a grandparent, a coach, or someone else making them feel valued. Like, the benefit of the relationship in your early teens isn't so much the romantic aspect of it, but more, this person is on my side. This is my person who's going to support me. And, like, that's what they need at that age. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I highlighted that entire paragraph and I said, well, I agree with all of this. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, at the very end of that paragraph, teens can learn social skills, how to make small talk, resolve arguments, and empathize across differences in all kinds of platonic relationships, which is very true. And, you know, there is a danger to being in romantic relationships too early.
Yeah, she talks about that too.
Or as a default, like, I have to have a romantic relationship. Like that. So that's wisdom there. Hey, you don't need to chase romantic relationships. You need to chase social development relationships.
Yes, just any type of relationship.
Yeah, don't hide in your room and just bang away on Reddit. Anyway.
In your Reddit echo chamber. Oh boy. Yeah, but then she talks about how that research from earlier that says that it might be a benefit to avoid romantic activity in that, like, teen area. And then she says that a study found that compared with their dating peers, students who dated very infrequently or not at all were seen by their teachers as having better leadership and social skills and reported fewer symptoms of depression. And I said, here, this one might be a chicken and egg situation.
I agree.
This one might just be...
You're confusing cause and effect here.
Yeah, this one might be because they are a little bit more mature than their peers and seem to be doing generally better. They're focused on, like, real life stuff.
And not the nonsense of
dating in high school. Yeah. But she talks, I mean, she puts it in a parenthetical, but she does mention it, that young love can be damaging. And in the worst cases, abusive. And adolescent girls specifically experience intimate partner violence at a particularly high rate, which it's especially dangerous in teen girls, I think, because, like you said, the idea that you have to be in a relationship is so much more emphasized in, I think, like young girl friendship groups.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be the odd one out that doesn't have a boyfriend, so you'll settle for any dumb 15-year-old, you know? And
Yeah.
I think that's...
Yeah, but that means that if the overall like cultural evolution for that generation is to minimize the importance of relationships in that time frame, it's like, okay, maybe this is a little bit of like the female hive mind saying, we're going to protect ourselves here.
Yeah.
And maybe, start to evolve away from having to have that.
Yes, I actually... I said that
I mean,
down
I'm hoping.
here. I said
I'm
that down
hoping
here.
it's
I wrote this... Hang on. Oh, okay, so... When we're discussing this, like, decrease in relationship at young people, and also decrease... They talk about the transition to adulthood,
Yeah.
and steps such as financial independence, buying a home, and notably getting married or being pushed later and later, or sometimes indefinitely.
Right.
And I think that we should be examining the rise in feminism and the ability for a woman to have her own life outside of just getting married and having kids in the same... I think they're related, and I think we shouldn't pretend that, oh my gosh, this generation is not having kids and nobody's getting married and nobody's getting in relationships. They don't believe in love. What's going on? It's like, well, when a young girl is told that all she has to do is get in a relationship, find a husband, get married, and have babies, that's all she's going to do, and she's probably going to do it pretty early. But once women are being told, you don't have to do that,
Yeah.
you can go to college and you can go and do your own thing, yeah, a lot of them are going to do that instead. So I think that...
I think, yeah, you're right. I think there's a lot of societal evolution that's going into this kind of stuff happening. And I think it's even beyond. I think the percentage of young girls that get that sort of traditional, your primary objective should be to find a nice man and be married and crank out crotch fruit and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you're welcome. I think that's a very small percentage at this point of
Yes.
young girls growing up like that.
I think so too.
They generally wear denim skirts.
And live in Utah.
And live in Utah or, Southern Ohio. But that change, having the idea that all human beings in our society have agency is going to have some ramifications through the system, right? Yeah. And that's okay. It's sort of back to what I was saying. Like, I think it's totally legitimate for people to redefine some of these things for their own purposes based on, it's taken longer to mature these days. Why? Well,
lots of different
lots of reasons. Maybe it's partly because we live so damn long now.
Oh.
Life isn't forcing you to be productive at age 13.
True.
Maybe it's because parents are overthinking every damn thing. I don't know. But yes, there are changes happening. Let's just make sure that we're not losing people along the side of the road.
Okay. Well, I think we pretty much covered the content here. I mean, they talk more about being nervous to try because you have gotten shut down so many times. But I don't know if that's unique to Gen Z.
Yeah,
I think that's just the nature of...
Yep, that is.
Yeah.
It's the nature of, like, if you open yourself up to another person, sometimes it goes bad.
You might get burned, but, I mean...
Yeah, and there's a passing reference to, like you were saying, like, oh yeah, it's taking longer to grow up these days. This tendency to keep things sort of ambiguous in relationships. There is some recounted how they ended up feeling invested in a fling and described it as a personal failure. They said that they got caught, as if red-handed, caught feelings like an illness or succumbed to dumb bitch hour. When late at night, defenses down, they texted a crush and let themselves feel close to someone.
Yeah, that is... Okay, I'm going to give a little ground here. I guess that is something that I see a lot in like the younger side of Gen Z, is it's like, it's embarrassing to like someone. Like, it's embarrassing
to be found out.
To be found out that you actually, especially I think, because all of those quotes, that sounds like a boy.
Oh.
Like, girls don't really say that to each other.
Girls don't say dumb bitch hour?
No. Oh, well, dumb bitch hour, actually. Yeah. Dumb bitch hour.
Yeah,
but
caught feelings definitely sounds like a boy.
That's like dude stuff.
Yeah, I like this back to my, this is generational researchers. Like who's name them.
Yeah,
I want to talk to them.
That's all they say. Generational researchers.
They describe Gen Z as a cohort particularly concerned with security, averse to risk, and slow to trust. And again, I'm like, okay, let's talk about why.
Why?
Where did that come from?
Concerned with security?
Yeah.
I
don't know. What's happened? Yeah.
What giant thing could they have lived through that would be?
Yeah, averse to risk, slow to trust.
Oh.
The whole world is telling them to trust no one. I don't know. Yeah, I also enjoyed that we're quoting Hinge surveys. Isn't Hinge a dating site or a hookup site?
It's a dating app.
Hookup app? Yeah.
Yeah, Hinge is one of the dating apps that's actually seen as like one of the more respectable ones.
Oh, okay.
Like, you can actually get in a relationship.
Like, not a hookup app.
It's not a Tinder.
Like, not a Tinder.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's closer to like a Bumble.
Okay. But it doesn't have the
Women go
the
first.
restriction.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was an interesting discussion, but...
Yeah, I think that the way that she finishes the discussion has a very, very dark connotation.
I think so too.
So at the very end of this article, she starts to talk about the difference between men and women in this whole situation, and that there are, in my mind, in my interpretation, there are very disturbing trends among young men.
Ooh, I agree.
And, we can talk about describing it all we want and, pat yourself on the back for describing it perfectly. But what the hell are we going to do about it?
What are we going to do about it?
We're raising a bunch of really scary boys.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the reason that it's happening is because of this idea that boys are easier to raise than girls, which is not true.
Not true at all.
But it gives parents like a pass to just ignore their son for a lot of years, and then they don't know what the kid is looking at and consuming. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there's also, there's a natural push. There has been a natural push towards male behavior and masculinity in culture in general, which happens when more and more voice is being given to the female side and female agency, like we were talking about. And that's okay. Like, that pressure needs to happen. But you also run the danger of having young men raised in an environment where all they hear about is how awful they are.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, fuck it. Then I guess I'll be awful.
Yeah.
And that's not productive either.
No.
It's like, you got to teach them that there is a good way to be a man.
Yes. We're not saying that being a man on its own is inherently bad. It's, yeah.
Right.
I think a lot of also the danger is, and she talks about this, is that so many young men are so isolated from each other, like from other men.
Oh, yeah.
Even male friendships are not
They're not
close.
Right. They're not.
They're not like, I don't want to say they're not real friendships, because they are.
They're not what I have.
Yeah.
As a male and my male friends.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think that's like the first thing that I notice about a man is if they strike me as a man that I can immediately trust, like one of the good ones, quote unquote, it is almost always true that they're close male friendships are like actually close. Like they really have, oh, that's my best friend, and they don't mind saying best friend.
Yeah.
You know, when like dudes are like, oh, that's my bro. It's like, you can admit that you like him and he's your friend. It's okay. We
I
won't
have a
call
bunch
you
of
gay.
friends that we tell each other we love.
Yeah. Do you guys
Love
braid
you,
each other's
brother.
hair?
Love you, brother.
Okay. But yeah, I think I don't have a solution for it. I don't know what the solution
Well,
is.
I think you just described what the solution should look like. It's the opportunity for young men to learn that platonic intimacy among their male friends and support for each other is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like help each other to be
Yes.
like good young men,
Yeah.
and you'll have the support to be good people throughout
Yeah.
whatever life throws at you.
I also do think that this is a problem, like an issue that women won't be able to help solve.
No.
I think that men,
I agree.
older men, need to start policing younger men, and it has to be a within the gender
Yep, I
thing,
agree.
because these young kids aren't going to be listening to anything women say to them.
Well, and they also, I mean, right now they're not listening to anybody. They're like that isolation.
Well, that's why such a huge percentage of young white men voted for Trump, was because they felt like, okay, the entire country is telling me I, as a young white man, I'm the enemy.
Yeah.
And he's telling me that I'm not. And it seems that if I go with him, I go into a community, a built-in community, and that's what they want.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, they go online and they share awful opinions, and so they have some degree of a clubhouse already.
Yes.
But it's not, like you were saying, it's not true. There's no true friendship there. There's no true relationship at all there. No. And there's no relationship with Donald Trump either. Sorry, buddy.
Guys, he doesn't like you.
He doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't think about you.
He doesn't. Gosh. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so we finish on the lovely, the lovely topic
downer.
Of incels and awful young men.
And like
but
sexual assault and such.
Yeah. But I want to give the author credit, because at the very end she brings us back to this professor who brings, like, still doing the hard work of trying to convince her students that love is real. And this excerpt of Plato's Symposium, I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Like this ancient story of how, like, why it is that we seek out a partner.
Like, where the idea of like a soulmate comes
Yeah,
from, or
it's
the other
really
half.
cool.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I think that if they're going to, in the end, she tells the story about how Zeus splits people in two to foil their plan to overthrow the gods, and then that's why people wander around looking for their other half, and that's the purpose. That's why we fall in love and all this kind of stuff. And the students, of course, are like, we hate the idea of having just one soulmate.
And like being half of a person without them.
And like, okay, well, you're missing the point.
It's like, okay. Like, yeah, sure. None of us actually believe that we were originally humans with 4 arms and 4 legs. And then we got split in half.
It's not literal, guys.
No, we're not being literal. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor.
But, yeah. So, yeah, at the end, I was like, so my ideas behind the causes of these cultural changes. These people are the first to really grow up with a ubiquitous internet and social media. Social media raises expectations about behavior and relationships.
Yeah.
A lot of sexual discovery is happening on screens now instead of in person. And then there was a huge chunk of time, very critical developmental time, that COVID disrupted.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of in-person for a year.
Like, a lot of kids just lost half of their high school experience.
Right. So I think those things are all part of the cause here,
Absolutely.
plus some just natural societal evolution.
Yes. And also probably like some genuine damaging stuff going on. Like, we're not, like, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's not horrible. But I hate when it's like the discussion of it turns into, let's all make fun of these dumb kids on their phones who don't know how to have relationships. It's like, well,
Well, you
have a little bit of empathy for these poor dumb kids on phones.
Well, you have empathy. I'll make fun of them.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, cool.
That's a good balance.
Yeah, good balance. Guess what time it is, Rebecca?
What?
Time for your bit.
It's bit time.
Bit time.
Bit time, bit time. Okay.
Okay, I'm so nervous.
Welcome, everybody, to the first ever Rebecca's Bit.
Is that what we're going to call it, Rebecca's bit?
Ew. No.
She spit the bit.
Oh, no. Okay, this bit takes some context, just a little bit of context. So for the listeners who don't know me in person, I have a document in my phone notes app that I call my quote note. And I've been keeping this document since 2017, maybe earlier, but at least 2017. And it's full of just random quotes that people around me say that I think are ridiculous or funny or interesting or insightful. And this bit...
Can we call it like quote note, quote not?
That's fantastic. Quote note, quote not.
Here we go. We'll workshop that. It's not fantastic.
I think it's
good
fantastic.
enough.
I think it's Travis level.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. Chef's kiss. So here's the idea. I have collected comments that I've found on Instagram or TikTok that are ridiculous. There are...
I didn't know they had those.
6 comments altogether, and one of them is a quote from my quote note.
Oh.
And you have to guess which one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
How many rounds of this are there?
There are just one.
It's just the six quotes.
6 quotes.
And I have to pick the one
One
that...
odd, one out.
Okay, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Is the one from your quote note from someone that I know?
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready.
You might even be married to her.
Ooh, that doesn't really narrow it down much.
Here's the first one. I used to think people from Wisconsin only ate cheese. Here's the second one. I need a beer of sadness and despair right now.
Okay.
Here's the third one. There's a lot I can do in this world with a knife and some information. Here's the fourth one. It's going to be 52 degrees, and I'm about ready to break out my swimsuit. Arctic blast these nuts. Here's the fifth one. My cramps are bad enough to bring the Hulk to his green knees. And here's the last one. Sometimes the way a blankie and a white noise machine whispers to you isn't your fault.
Okay.
What do you think?
So what do I think about which one came from your quote note?
Yes, and I can read them through once more if
It's
you need.
the one about beer.
I need a beer of sadness and despair right now?
Yes.
Wrong.
Oh, wow.
It's not.
Gosh. I was so confident.
You were so confident. It is not.
It's not the Hulk cramps.
It's not.
It's not the Wisconsin eating cheese.
Because she would know that.
She would know that. She was in Wisconsin for a while. Okay, so we're down to which ones?
Okay, here are the ones that you have left. There's a lot I can do in this world with a knife and some information. It's going to be 52 degrees, and I'm about ready to break out my swimsuit.
That's not
Arctic
her.
blast these nuts.
That's not her.
Sometimes the way a blankie and a white noise machine whispers to you isn't your fault.
Is it a knife and some information?
It is a knife and some information.
Oh
Congratulations.
my gosh. False confidence, too.
So this is Emily Brew, my mother. There's a lot I can do in this world with a knife and some information.
That sounds very threatening.
Yeah, it was.
Like an address. Give me an address and a knife and I'll take care of the situation.
I'm pretty sure it was in the context of like doing a recipe without even looking at the recipe. But she was like holding a big knife as she said it, and it was pretty terrifying.
Okay, wow.
So that's quote note, quote not.
Okay, and I love that, and I think that there is a treasure trove of opportunity in your quote note.
Yes, there is. Honestly, the hardest part of putting this together was finding funny enough comments that were like comparable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think, like I know that we've gone. There have been times where we just like you've sat down and just shared.
We just read
things.
through the
You'll
list.
just read through them, and we'll just wind up laughing our asses
So
off.
funny.
So yeah, there's a lot to mine there.
Yeah, and it's always exciting when I meet somebody new and they get their first quote in my quote note, and I get to introduce them to it, and they get very proud of themselves for making it in. It's very cute.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I enjoyed that one.
I think next time I'll have a couple of rounds, but this one was...
No, it's a good test.
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
Wonderful.
Hey, we got one more article.
We do.
And this is a great article for me to get really pissed off and then move on. This article is it's called "They Inherited Billions from Their Parents. They Don't Want It." So my immediate take on that is boo-hoo, I'll take it.
It's wah.
But also the title is very misleading. It's an article by an author named Insider. No, it's Kate Lindsay at insider.com. I don't know what insider.com is, but and the idea here is sort of younger people rejecting wealth, and specifically inherited wealth, because it's icky.
But specifically, younger people inheriting like crazy amounts of wealth.
So that's the interesting part, Rebecca, because that's what they kind of say, but
However,
it's really not.
Then they go down and they talk about this person that they're interviewing a lot. They inherited 800,000 and then like 80,000,
right?
And that was it,
right?
I'm like,
that's not like, I mean, good for them.
Yes, for deciding to do something good with it.
And that was Ash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually came away from this article going, okay, I feel like Ash kind of has it.
I feel like
has
Ash
it
and
together.
I would agree on a lot.
Yeah. I was like, okay, you're doing this for a lot of the right reasons, but for a lot of this article, it's sort of like performative guilt, and it made me want to go into the room and smack a bunch of people in the face.
I found, when I was first reading about this idea, so she talks about how these heirs are at this workshop, this wealth workshop thing, that they go to talk about how much shame they've held for having all of this money and how difficult it is to try to live with irregular people. Poor people.
Poor folks.
Act like they're normal like us. And at first I was like, ugh, imagining a bunch of like white dudes in a room pretending to be guilty, and then they drop the line.
Yeah.
Then they drop most of them young white queer women, and I went, oh no.
It's even worse.
Because I know exactly the flavor of person they're talking about.
Well, I want to read this to give the proper context to the type of event that's being reported on here.
Yes.
Okay? Among the fabulously rich heirs in the room, everyone's wealth shadow looks different. For some, it takes the form of an X as they hold their forearms across their faces. Others curl up on the floor with their heads in their hands. Some crouch as if to protect themselves from an incoming blast of money, like the ghostly cast of a Pompeii victim.
Oh, no.
As I stand among these 20 or so human statues, still holding the sprigs of rosemary we were given to smell and arrive back in our bodies, I find myself disabused of any remaining expectation that this was going to be a conventional finance workshop. No, it's goofiness.
It's mostly bullshit.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. Again, people who authentically come to the conclusion that they don't desire inherited wealth, more power to you. This is a 4-page article dealing with a bunch of people you don't want to spend any time with.
No.
And I'm just going to say at the end, like, the whole charade is absolutely exposed. So just hang on, guys, because it's going to get very, like, almost depressing. All right, so despite the fact that they claim that, sharing wealth isn't about wokeness, everything about this article is like super woke.
It's pretty woke. And I think I'm a pretty liberal person. Mm-hmm. Even reading this, there was like, I had like a stink face on the whole time. I was like,
Right.
this is rough.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Sarah's a 24-year-old whose family splits their time between homes in California and England. And she felt like she was just a relatively normal person growing up. And then she found out about her inherited wealth. All right.
And hang on. Then I found out about my inherited wealth, and I was like, oh, actually, I'm in a completely different space. Why?
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're still the same person.
If your brain heard that you had money and went, oh, I'm a different person, that's you.
And also, Sarah's oblivious. If her family lived in England and California, and she didn't realize they were sitting pretty fat,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Liar.
stupid. And then it says we're the bad guys, and I'm like, no, you're not the bad guys unless you choose to be the bad guys.
It's just what it sounds like to me is white women who realized that they have all of the privilege that they could possibly have as a white woman and decided they wanted something to make them special and tortured.
Yeah, there you go.
And this was the only thing they could possibly come up with.
This is like a weird woke version of walking into a room and just declaring to everybody, do you know who I am?
Yeah, like it's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. All right. So they start by, I mean, not really start, but they do drop this little, they did a survey of this group that's attending this it's called Making Money Make Change is the name of the conference they were at or whatever. Mm. And the combined net worth of this group is claimed to be $246 million. So across 20 people, it's about like 20, call it 20 million each.
Yeah.
Okay. And they seem to be mostly younger people. So that's a significant amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. And that doesn't include the wealth they stand to inherit from families, which adds another $1.5 billion, theoretically. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are very well-off people.
Also, these numbers are completed by all but 7 of the attendees. So there are even more.
Yeah, the 7
there's even more money floating around in that room that's not being.
And this, let's be honest, the 7 that didn't complete the surveys are probably even more wealthy.
Yeah,
they're
that's
probably
why
the ones that
they
are
didn't
like,
want to.
no,
Yeah.
my parents are billionaires. I'm not going to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
So,
she goes, the reading of the survey, I was warned, is the heaviest part of the weekend.
get over yourselves.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez. Yeah, the heaviest part of my month is always reading financial statements. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the survey is read and every statistic is met with somber silence.
Oh, poor thing.
So, these people try not to think about their money. They throw away their bank statements without opening them because doing so would mean owning their privilege and facing the guilt and shame they feel about it.
Gosh, that's so annoying.
And I highlighted that and wrote, I definitely hate these people.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, but I was feeling and thinking the same things, going, wow, eat shit the whole time. Yeah. But then I had to crack my heart open a little bit and be like, okay. But even if they're the freaking worst, at least their dirty money is being put to some good use, I suppose.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's not.
Maybe not. We actually hear very little about what they're doing with their money.
Maybe resource generation and the Making Money Make Change group are just charlatans, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so here's something that is a little silly that okay, so this conference is supposed to be, okay, we get it. You guys are rich and you don't like it. But here's what you can do with the money. Yeah. That's how I interpret it.
Sure, right.
At the conference, the days are filled with workshops and panels on everything from housing justice to reparations, while the nights feature readings of Maya Angelou and demonstrations of how to administer Narcan.
Huh?
What?
Yeah.
What?
And then right after that, the scene resembles a liberal arts college. And I wrote, it's probably just as useful as that liberal arts college.
Oh my gosh, Dad.
Anyway. Yeah, and there are a lot of little snippets of specific examples or commentary from some of the participants that are all just inane.
It's tough to read, yeah.
Okay, the real work of the conference takes place at action booths. I just even hate that name,
Action
that
booths.
title. Like,
It's just all so white
yeah,
activism.
yeah.
It's so
So attendees sit down with certified investment advisors and money coaches to discuss the specifics of their financial situations and pledges, and to pledge where to give away their wealth. So, cool.
cool.
Go give away a bunch of your money.
I mean, they also say Sarah is in an action booth when she commits to redistributing a second $1 million from her trust fund. They don't say anything about where it's going. They
No.
just say redistributing.
Yeah, and she wants to spend down her assets to $70,000 by the end of 2025 to unburden herself of the money
Dude,
that has come to her through capitalism and colonialism. Okay, first of all, I think we can universally agree that colonialism is not a great way to administer any kind of equity or it's not good business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
et cetera.
But the idea of just blanket putting capitalism in this bucket of, clearly immoral.
It's
I don't want any money from capitalism.
But that's liberal arts college.
I know,
White
but
queer women code. Like that's
like-
all they do is they yell about stuff. Dude.
Yeah, I'm just like, you're just sitting in a, which is why I love how Ash deals with things.
Oh my gosh.
Our best friend Ash,
I hope they come back
who
soon.
also didn't seem to really get a ton of money, right?
No. But okay, hang on. Actually,
Yeah,
because
sorry, I'm skipping
yeah,
ahead.
we skipped a little bit. But okay, it's this paragraph actually. Meg says something that I super agreed with out of nowhere, and that was shocking to me. This paragraph says, those attending the conference say they have found it surprisingly difficult to figure out how to divest themselves of their money. Depending on how their trust funds are set up, accessing their funds might require them to go through family or a trustee, who often have a vested interest in keeping the money locked up for generations to come. This is a quote. The trustees are like, what about your children's children? Meg recalls being asked. And we're like, what about everybody else's children?
Yeah, I do like that one. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, dude, bars.
Yeah. No, I think that's true, and it's a good point. And they go into talking about like the people who hover around to manage money are there to manage growing money.
It here and building, not to give it away.
Right. So you have to find the right kind of person who's willing to get on board with, the job here is to get rid of this.
Yes.
But I do like that one of the people who's there helping these folks, these poor folks in the action booths, is Iris Brilliant, who ironically was originally a gender studies and creative writing major, and is now helping people give away all their money.
And interestingly, we get to know what her major was, gender studies and creative writing major, but we don't hear anything about any sort of training or anything that she went through to be telling these people how to use their money. It just says that she worked at this organization for 5 years.
Yeah. Hey, she's an organizer.
She's an organizer. Yeah. What are your qualifications? Gender studies and creative writing.
Creative. Well, now you get to be creative spending.
Oh man.
Giving away your money also comes with another challenge, Rebecca. Having less money.
Yeah, I highlighted that.
Shit, Sherlock. Okay, so now we talk about Ash.
Yay,
Now,
Ash!
Ash is 21, and they inherited $800,000
from their grandfather.
This is a good little. This is a cute little thing, right? From their grandfather, seventh generation of a family that made its money by, no joke, manufacturing the paper for money.
I think that's really good.
That's really good. I like it.
It's good. Yeah. So they've already redistributed almost their entire inheritance.
And including, I don't know, I'm just presuming to understand what the solidarity economy is. I would assume it's like social justice focused investment.
I assume so also.
But cool, good for you. Like,
Yeah.
invest in what you believe in. But
And then they got cancer.
And the story is told about how it got really tough for Ash. And I loved the heart behind this. Ash took this, like, they clearly truly believe in what they're doing. Yes. And so Ash had insurance through their job as an organizer.
They required their parents' assistance for only one bill, which was only $250.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And Ash, this is a quote, "It was beautiful to be in that community safety net and to test the theories of will we really care for each other when we don't have money to take care of us." Great.
Yeah.
I love this. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is basically how normal people have to live. Good
Yes.
for you for living it.
Yeah. Like, even when it got hard, you didn't just go, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also get a little bit of insight into Ash's family's reaction. Mm-hmm. Because they talk about how, this is a quote from Ash again, "My sister uses her inherited wealth to pay for her housing, and my brother uses it to support his kids' education. There's a quiet coldness when I talk about the work that I do."
Yeah.
Like,
and one family member joked that Ash would come crawling back in search of financial help if they wound up being unable to pay their rent. I was like, yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah.
What else would they do? And what else would you want them to do?
And guess what? If you want to say no, then you're the asshole.
Yeah. Like, if you supporting me is predicated on me being rich.
Yeah, it's weird.
What is,
like, what's
we're
going
not
on?
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time to do some math, Rebecca.
Hang on though, because we got to talk about this last bit.
No. I'm going
okay.
backwards.
Okay,
I'm going backwards. I'm going to do a little math for you.
Okay.
To show you the truly generous hearts associated with this profound movement.
Wow, beautiful.
Sweeping the
California
younger generation of wealthy heirs. By the end of the conference, 35 heirs have pledged to redistribute a total of $9.2 million.
Wow, let's recall what they came in
Let's
there with.
recall that these people had at least $245 million in net worth between them. If not more, because we don't know,
more.
7 of them didn't disclose. Mm-hmm. So what we're talking about here is that these martyrs to the capitalist society have decided to give away less than 4% of their net worth. Where is the freaking ticker tape parade?
So what they really are doing is going to a conference to circle jerk each other about how shameful and guilty they feel.
Yeah. And then
give away some crumbs from their pocket and then do it all again next year.
Yeah. And have $150 vegan meals in the meantime. Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Yes. I like the more I read about this, other than Ash, I was like, I'm vibing with Ash.
You're
but
a bestie.
The rest of these people can all fall off a cliff.
Yeah, they suck.
They're not good people.
Suck. Yeah. But Ash has a banger of a line at the end that I actually really enjoy.
I did too. Yeah.
So
see, this is why Ash is our friend.
Ash says, Ash is just happy to have more to give. The money, they say, is the easy part. Once that's gone, it's time to find other things. Skills, food, housing to redistribute in pursuit of a better world. Everyone, Ash says, has an inheritance to contribute. I don't qualify as done. I don't know if anyone ever is. Yes.
Ash, you rock. Okay, also, I want to point out that the premise for this was Ash got the $800,000 and then handled it how they wanted to. Yeah. And then Grandma gave Ash an additional $80,000 when she passed. Mm-hmm. Regardless of the siblings who are cold to Ash for how they handled the first inheritance. Mm-hmm. And I just want to point out, Grandma clearly didn't have a problem with how Ash was operating.
Yeah, Grandma was like,
yep.
Keep going.
So, and I love that line, everyone has an inheritance to contribute.
Yes.
Good for you.
Beautiful.
So, ash is the only redeeming feature of this entire group of people. Performative guilt, yay. Also, this is, so here's this is a group of people who have the first step of an understanding that there is a responsibility that comes from having in general. Like if you got a great hand in the card game of life, don't waste it. You should have a sense of responsibility about it, all that kind of stuff. The fact that they're twisting it into some kind of a burden and look at me, I'm such a hero for doing it this way. You're gross.
It's still about you.
Yes, you're a gross human being. So we agree on that one.
We agree on that one, yes.
We agreed on the overall nature of it and that Ash is our hero.
That Ash is awesome. Ash seems to have like the actual heart of...
Yes, exactly.
Like...
That's...
It's community building.
It is. I was going to say it as, when someone is authentic around like a positive idea and authentically representing it, they attract.
Yes.
Instead of like the rest of these people, we had stink face.
Stink face. We both did it just now.
I know. We got the ick.
It's just... Yeah, I feel like greasy now having talked about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those were our 2 articles.
We gotta come up with happier articles.
I know.
It's just not a lot out there right now, guys.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. I wish we could get people to submit interesting things. But
nobody does.
Nobody does.
Guys.
I know.
We're talking.
Well, maybe if we were a little more active on social media. I know. In all your spare time.
In all my spare time,
Can you run a social media campaign promoting the Shallow End, please?
I just don't know what to post. I'm like...
You know what? If we were professionally managed, we would do this, and then people would, do clips, and we would be able to promote little clips that would draw people in.
But we would have a social media manager whose job it was to do that, and it wouldn't be me.
No. But it would need to be somebody that could clip up, segments of audio and then write up some.
Maybe we could get Maggie to do it.
That sounds like Maggie, yeah.
She is a marketing girl.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we hope you enjoyed. This is actually one of our longer ones.
Yeah,
too.
we kind of dragged this one out, although we both had bits.
Yeah, we both had bits, and I think it was fun.
I thought it was fun too.
I hope everybody else thought it was fun.
And because we were talking about it, let's just plug that Instagram once more. It is out on Instagram at The Shallow End Crew.
At The Shallow End Crew.
And if you follow, you'll be our 19th follower.
Woohoo!
Woo! We have 4 posts right now.
I didn't talk about the geography of our listenership.
No, we didn't.
We did lose Spain. The entire country's gone.
He's sick of us?
Yeah.
Sorry, Inigo.
Yeah.
Dang. But is Putin still here?
Nope.
Dang.
That's okay. I don't mind. Vlad doesn't need to be listening.
We're too boring.
Yeah.
He's got a lot going on. Well.
He does. He does. All right.
We'll see you in probably a month.
Yeah. We'll see you in a month. If you have any ideas for...
Send them our way. The articles will be linked in the episode description as always.
And
we love you.
Yeah. Shout at us, guys.
Thanks for swimming along in the shallow end with us this week.
Splash, splash.
We were taking a bath. Bye.
Marco.
Hello.
Bye-bye.